8 p.m. on a Sunday, Boston, Massachusetts.
Guys, I got some news, some terrible news. We got a huge problem.
I feel like we could do a podcast, and it would be a million times better than whatever that drivel was we were listening to.
What the hell is a podcast?
What is that? The future of radio. You jabronis.
Hey yo, and welcome to the Always Sunny cast. I'm your host Eric,
And I'm co-host Ross.
and this is the podcast where we go through Always Sunny one episode at a time. We also go scene by scene, and we just try to figure out what makes it so funny, and we talk about it, and we dissect it a little bit, and just, I don't know, play around.
Yeah, we just chat about the episode, take a deeper look, and pull it apart.
Would you say maybe this is the hardest episode we've done?
This is the hardest, easily.
Yeah, it was difficult.
I'm lost before we even start talking about it, and I'll have questions I don't even know how to ask by the end of it.
Well, you know, if you're a regular listener to the show, you know that I am the one who breaks down the overarching, I set up the scene, basically. I have to write that little synopsis to set up the scene. And the scenes I had to break up, I truly have one scene that's 6 seconds. The way you have to break up the way the scenes are broken up are very crazy. Do you know what I mean? It's not in a normal structure.
Yeah, there's a lot of cutting of tenses. So, we go to past tense, and then we go to present.
I try to keep track of that, and I will keep, and also there are gonna be weird, super long scenes, strangely long scenes, and then strangely really short scenes. This is the most page turning I think I'm gonna have to do, but it's fun. But it's a great episode. I mean,
I'm
there's
excited,
a lot
Eric.
going on. Yeah. And before we start, I just want to address. Listen, I know the last episode's sound quality was terrible. I mean, it was worse than usual, and it usually is bad. But I was editing it I was so tired. I got that edited at 4 a.m. the day of. You know what I mean? It was just
we got a few DMs on that. So
yeah, and my gain was too high, and I'm gonna try something. We're gonna tweak something. I'm gonna try something for this episode, so hopefully it works. But I'm gonna try. I know our volume's too low, but we're idiots. I don't know. What should I say? How do we explain this?
we really didn't know how to do this before we started doing it, and never really learned beyond the bare minimum. Would you say that's accurate?
I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah, we don't really have if I could editing is the worst part.
Yeah, it's the most tedious, I think.
Yes,
besides the note taking.
Yeah,
this is the fun part.
This is the best
part. You just get to
yeah.
talk.
Yeah, truly, I know. But yes, I know it sucked, but we're on it. We're gonna try to fix it.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
Yeah, I've already looked into it because I went nuts.
I
yeah.
put some of my best men on it.
Who do you know? I'm your. There's no. Who do you know? What?
You're the one working on it. You're the best guy I got, dude. I don't really have a deep bench.
Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Sunny Footy on Instagram, SUNNYFOOTY, because a couple episodes ago, Ross, I was struggling to come up with the name of a professional skateboarder just in a random thing we were talking about, and I couldn't remember his name. And with the most little information I could imagine, Sunny Footy somehow pulled out that I was trying to talk about Mark Johnson. I could not believe he pulled that. That's crazy to me. And I just want to shout out, everyone go to Sunny Footy on Instagram if you want, I don't know what, the best mashups.
Yeah, he does all the best mashups, but we repost them on our stories all the time. So
yeah, but if you're not familiar with our Instagram or whatever, head over to his for sure. And I could not believe he was. Oh, I think Eric was trying to talk about Mark Johnson. I mean, with the most little information, it was impressive. It was cool.
The guy's a sleuth.
All right, we rambled on enough, Russ. Let's try to get into this episode. Let's try not to get confused and lost in the narrative. Okay, let's not brown out at any point here. Today we're talking Season 6, Episode 7, Who Got Dee Pregnant? Original air date is October 28th, 2010, and actually, Ross, this was first screened at Comic-Con.
Yeah, they talked about that on the commentary. They mentioned they played this for Comic-Con.
Ross, you listened to the commentary for this?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's good. Very good. That makes my trivia game at the end harder for me, but that's fine. I can handle it.
Okay.
But that's cool. I'm glad you did. So, yes, the original air date is October 28th, 2010, written by Charlie Day and Rob McElhenney, directed by Randall Einhorn. Ross, what's that IMDb summary?
The gang gets a real, quote, scare, unquote, after Dee reveals she's pregnant, forcing the guys to recall their last hazy Halloween to determine if one of them might be the father.
Are they putting scare in quotes because they're like making a pun?
Yeah, because it's Halloween related.
I don't think the quotes are necessary.
No, it's a real scare.
Yeah.
I think they're all pretty scared.
Yeah, and even if you're making a pun, you don't have to like, I don't know, draw attention to it like that or something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Russ, this episode was written in 2010. What do you got going on in the world in 2010?
Well, the People magazine named Ryan Reynolds the sexiest man of the year.
Really?
Yes.
There's an Always Sunny connection now.
And the sexiest woman in the world, according to Esquire magazine. I guess People magazine doesn't do a sexiest woman. I couldn't find it.
I have no idea.
But it's Minka Kelly. Do you know Minka Kelly?
I don't. No.
Me neither.
I know
Where
Ryan Reynolds.
were
Though.
we that
I know
year?
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, it's Minka Kelly. Name doesn't even like ring a distant bell.
No, not even a little bit. I thought it was referring to the woman that took over that show that Regis was on.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But it's not her.
I don't know.
So,
All right.
so I'll never know.
Russ, thank you for that incredibly useless information.
You got it.
All right, let's get into it. Cold open, 5:30 p.m. on a Saturday in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. As the gang is getting ready to spend a night in a museum, Dee tells them that she is pregnant and one of them is the father. So we get starting off here with Charlie talking ancient spirits.
Yeah, he's excited. He wants to talk to at least one ancient spirit, right?
Right. Well, I mean, that's got to be the expectation. Or else why are you doing it? And Mac is thinking that they definitely got to pick up some chalk and erasers because the dust and everything, it makes you see the lasers.
The laser beam alarm.
Yeah. Do you know what he's like referencing?
This is got to be like Mission Impossible type stuff. Anytime a heist is on the table for a plot of a movie, you're gonna see some laser beams and chalk, right?
Right. Yeah. Some sort of dust that lets you see the lasers, and that seems to be and that's again them living like
a movie.
Yeah, he thinks like a museum's gonna have like laser security. Like, is that real? Is that even a real thing? Like, and why would you have them like crisscrossing, going all like crazy?
Yeah, it doesn't need to be like a perfect matrix.
I don't know. It just they're living their lives like movies, and then Frank wants to definitely hit up the Civil War section. He wants to spend a lot of what now? Why does he want to go there?
Good question. I don't know, but he has like I don't know if you noticed, but he has a heavy bag of like gear. Like, we don't really get to see what's in his gear bag, but like it's like black, so it looks like gear to break in somewhere.
And Dennis wants to. He doesn't want to do the Civil War thing. He shoots that down. But Dennis does want to go to ancient Egypt. Isn't it funny? They all have their own sort of thing. Like, now Dennis is
their
ancient
own
Egypt.
angle.
Yeah. So basically, the idea is that they're gonna go sneak into and stay overnight in
a museum.
I should have looked this up, Ross. I didn't look up like a museum in Philadelphia. Like, I don't know. They don't name a specific one.
Yeah, I mean, is this like the art museum? The natural science.
What kind of museum has like? There's a Civil War section. There's a.
It's got to be the art museum, right?
I don't know.
I think. I'm not smart enough to know what museum they're talking about.
That's right. Yeah, I was gonna say, Ross, we're not the type to go to museums. Like,
I'm not allowed.
No, definitely. Yeah, you got kicked out. But I mean, I've gone to the Museum of Science in Boston, but that's about it. And that does have a bunch of sections, like. It's probably a museum of art or something like that.
Like a history museum?
Yeah, like a history museum. Dee just wants to be clear. So they're staying inside this show. She kind of like lays it all down. They're staying inside this museum and they're hoping, things come alive. They're thinking things are going to come alive.
Yeah, she's basically like, oh, you think this is like the movie Night in the Museum,
but they
or
don't
whatever.
Say Night at the Museum, though.
Right.
Why don't
just
they?
describe the plot of it? I don't know.
Yeah, I almost wish they did. Just say, like, this is the movie Night at the Museum to them or something. Which I've never seen. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. But Dennis is like, no. It's not necessarily that. Like, yeah, sure, Charlie could talk to ancient spirits and run from ancient spirits, or they could be running from security guards. The idea is to stay sort of like open-minded.
Yeah. Either way, it's going to be a really, really great time.
Yeah. I love the way he does that little run thing where he talks about running from security guys. And it kind of does sound fun.
Does a shimmy gesture.
Yeah. And besides, what are they gonna do? Sit around and watch Dee eat sandwich after sandwich after sandwich?
After sandwich.
And they do some fat shaming here on Dee.
Yeah, Frank like kind of laughs at it. He's like, "What the hell is the matter with you? You've
Yeah.
been stuffing your face for days."
They can't even make bird jokes anymore. It doesn't make sense.
I'm not fat. I'm pregnant.
I feel like it's just so great to like. I don't know how to like explain like when he goes, "Oh, you've been saying that a lot lately."
Yeah,
It sort of like says so much. Do you know what I mean? It says so much, but saying so little, like of like what's
Right.
been going on and how little they care and think about her.
What's how little they pay attention to her.
Pay attention, yeah. I feel like you've been saying that a lot.
You
lately.
said that a lot. I don't know. Understood that at all, or took that in
Yeah,
whatsoever? Like,
like, why would she be saying it?
right. To inform.
You should do yourself a favor and flush that out. Now, Charlie points out. Now, you have said that before, Russ. Do you remember when he has said that before?
Yes, the Vic Vinegar episode, right?
Yeah, the mortgage crisis. That's
The
right.
mortgage crisis,
Because Dee, like,
yes.
it says, I'm pregnant before she does, like, her scam thing that she's doing. She, like...
But that time she's not pregnant.
She's not.
So
Yeah.
it's like they don't believe her anymore, maybe?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But isn't that crazy, like, that he says the same thing and Charlie remembers? And he even says, now that you have said before.
Right. And Dennis is even taking the stance in that episode. He says, that is big news. Like,
Right, yeah.
he does acknowledge, like, that's pretty important.
Then they go, house. They go back to the house. Right, yeah.
House.
Right. Mac adds, while they're talking about things they always say and everything, he just wants to reiterate that he doesn't care about Dee, doesn't care about her body, doesn't care about the baby. In fact, he doesn't even care about the baby bird that's probably growing inside her. That is like so harsh. Like, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
I don't care about you. I don't care about...
Well, that baby bird you're probably carrying around inside you.
Well, guess what? They should care because one of them is the father. Yeah, we should got some dramatic, like, dun,
I know.
dun, dun, like
Or
thunder.
a bell toll.
Yeah, the bell toll.
They do the bell toll
They
a
do the
lot.
bell toll later. Yeah. Dum. Yeah. They turn around and she says, yeah, that's right, at the Halloween party, but whatever, who cares? Let's not talk about it because they don't care about her or her body or anything. So she leaves. We get an oh shit from Charlie.
We get a no shit.
Why not a holy shit? It's too bad we didn't get a holy shit. You know what I mean? Just
It should
Oh,
always
shit.
be holy shit.
yeah. And we get an oh shit, and we get the title card. Don't you think it's strange? Like, I think because the title card, they usually, when they reference D in the title card, they usually say Sweet D.
Sweet D. Yeah.
Why no sweet? Why didn't she get a sweet D? Why didn't she get a sweet here?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know. So then, after the opening credits, at the bar, Frank, Dennis, Mac, and Charlie put their heads and brownouts together to figure out who the father is.
I mean, what is she even talking about? Got her pregnant at the Halloween party. What does that mean? I don't even remember that party. I was wasted.
Yeah, me too. I browned out that evening.
Browned out? What's browned out?
Oh, it's when you drink so much that everything goes brown. It's not as severe as a blackout, because I remember bits and pieces. I like to call it browning out.
Never heard of that before.
There's a good reason for that, Frank, because I think Mac just made it up on the spot.
I did.
You did. That's a great term, browning out.
You like it?
I love it.
Thank you.
And so I'm pretty sure at a certain point we all probably browned out. So I think our best chance at figuring this out is for us to all put our browns together, mash them together, and try and figure out which one of you two banged my sister.
Okay, but let's not overuse the brown thing right in the beginning,
Yeah, but here's the thing. Once you throw a term like that out and everybody likes it, it's pretty much fair game. We can
It's
use it whenever
public
we want.
domain at that
It becomes
point.
public domain.
Now we're just trying to figure out who banged D.
That's the important thing. Let's not focus too much on the brown thing, even though it's a term that I'm going to use a lot. And I'm probably going to use a lot right now. So here's what I remember from my brown state. I remember we were all in costume, and our costumes were pretty cool, except for yours. I was really pissed off at you because we agreed to go as Mario and Luigi.
Ross, have you ever browned out?
Too many times, probably.
Yeah. Because that's a saying that I like. I'm going to say probably a lot. Like right now.
During this episode.
Yeah, during this episode. Now, before we get to the meat of it, because we just heard it, but the brownout is so funny. Why don't they keep it up for the rest of the episode?
They don't. I know there's a huge amount of missed opportunities.
Yeah, like when especially at the end when they're banging on Dee's door, I'd be like, Dee, you browned out. That's why you don't remember. You browned out. And even Dee could go brown out. Like you know what I mean?
Like she's learning now for the first time.
Yeah.
After they've been using it the whole episode.
Yeah, or she can even be like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna say that, and they're like, back like no, or something like.
Yeah. That's more like Seinfeld-y to me. Like, no, don't take my thing. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know, just because it is so funny to like hear something and then to use it, and the other person doesn't want you using it so much. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just funny.
Yeah, you steal my babies.
Yeah, exactly. You doing
George?
Yeah. So at the beginning here, they were wasted. They established they were wasted at this party. They don't really remember what was going on. And Mac says, yeah, he browned out.
He does this like coy eyebrow raise. Do you notice when he says that?
Yeah, because he
he's
knows
like
it's
trying
gonna
to
be
like
good.
he's like listening like for like the response.
Yeah, you like that? And and they question, and Frank questions, browned out, and Mac explains.
Oh, it's when you drink so much that everything goes brown. It's not as severe as a blackout because I remember bits and pieces. I like to call it browning out.
Now, first of all, that's great. That's cool.
Yeah.
And second, they've never heard of this. Like, oh wow, we've never heard of this before. And Dennis's like face, like it's hard to convey like through audio.
Yeah, right. He read through Mac on that. Like he knew he was making up,
but he
on the
likes
spot.
it.
Yeah, so it's good.
And he has this like smile and this like. There's a good reason we never heard of that.
He has like a pleased look on his face.
He looks psychotic. He looks psychotic. And he's like, you know why we haven't heard of it? 'Cause I think Mac just made it up. And yes, Mac just made up the term brownout. Mac goes, you like it? And Dennis says, I love it.
I love it. I love it. It's like, of course I do. Like, what do you think?
It's very strange to see Dennis pleased with Mac.
Right. Yeah. I think that's what makes Dennis so happy in that moment,
Yeah, definitely. And so they start talking about, they start talking about like, all right, we have to try to remember what's going on that night. So let's put all of our heads and our browns together. Like they're gonna put their
points
brown
at Mac.
He points at Mac.
He points at Mac Browns. And then Mac's hand gesture of like
cut it out.
He does this like wavy hand.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of flat, but it's like to me it's like he's rating Dennis's use of brown.
Yeah, like
out
not
in
great.
in that,
Yeah.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah. Well, and also, let's not like go too heavy on the brown thing right now,
Yeah, but here's the thing. Once you throw out a term like that and everybody likes it, it's pretty much fair game.
Yeah, Charlie says it's public domain. It becomes public domain. Now, Ross, do you know anything about public domain, like what that means?
Not necessarily. I just get the idea that like if it's an idea that's not patented or like an intellectual property of any kind, you could just use it, right?
Yeah, you can kind of like put your own, like Shakespeare is in the public domain, and you can just sort of like, you and I could film and make a Shakespeare play. You know what I mean? Because it's in the public domain.
Right. I think at a certain point, after X amount of years of something being in the zeitgeist,
I read the Wikipedia and stuff, and there's all these. It's different for all different countries. It's different for different contracts. It's this and that. It's all crazy stuff.
It's different for different countries.
Yeah, like something that's public domain in America is not necessarily public domain in another country.
That's weird to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you think that would have to be universal. Because if, like, let's say The Simpsons make a reference or use something that's public domain in America, like the Happy Birthday song or whatever, and it's not.
They would probably cut it out. I mean, they do that. They edit stuff for different countries and stuff. They do that. So they probably edit out or pay for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the whole thing is the idea of like copywriting stuff and like owning like a phrase or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty crazy.
Remember Metallica tried to copyright like chord progressions and stuff?
No. That's fun. There is a section on the Wikipedia. They talk about things that cannot be copywritten, like mathematical formulas and stuff like that. There's like certain things that cannot be copywritten.
Huh. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
In case I get into math.
And I love that Charlie throws it out there, and Dennis agrees. Yep, it's in the public domain, and he it's a word that he likes that he's going to use a lot. He's going to use a lot right now. Like when he says that, he's like taking pleasure. And I love that Dennis here also does does another twist on it and calls it his brown state. He's like, what I remember from my brown state. It's like another play on the browning out. So Dennis starts telling his version of the story, and we start off here with him talking about how he was pissed at Mac because they were supposed to go together as Mario and Luigi.
Eric, are Mario and Luigi public domain?
I don't believe so. I would say no.
That's an introduction. So how are they're paying to use Mario and Luigi's likeness, or?
No, you know what? I think there's stipulations. Like, you notice when he is Luigi, he doesn't have the L on his.
Correct. Yeah. Is that like the one thing that allows it to be okay?
He could just be a cartoon bricklayer. Who knows?
He's an Italian plumber.
Yeah, exactly. So in the first flashback sequence, we see Dennis, Mac, Charlie, Frank, and Dee in their costumes and the night's events set into motion. So we start off here with Dennis as Luigi. And
he dressed as Luigi from Super Mario Brothers, yeah.
We're noticeably missing the L that's on the hat.
Right, which is what we're guessing is the loophole in being able to use this intellectual property.
And Mac comes walking up here, and Mac is dressed, as he puts it, Viggo Mortensen from Lord of the Rings. I think he says this later, but he is supposed to be Aragorn from Lord of the Rings.
Okay, so that's okay. So he's just referring to the actor's name and not.
Yeah, but he's not even saying that. As Dennis points out, he's not even saying that correctly. But yeah, he is. Yeah, but he's supposed to be Aragorn, and it's what Dennis gets into a little argument with him here because they decided to go funny over sexy this year.
Right, because they wanted to go funny over sexy to disarm the ladies, as Dennis puts.
Yeah, because Mac went with a sexier look, and now, because that's what he says. What even are you? And he goes, "I'm Viggo Mortensen." And when he's really thinking of his name is Viggo Mortensen. And he's in Lord of the Rings among many other things, and he's also in this movie. Whenever that guy like comes up, I always think of this movie he's in called Eastern Promises. Ross, have you seen this movie?
No, obviously not. I had never heard of it. What could you tell me about this movie?
And whenever I think of this guy, I always think of this movie Eastern Promises he was in, because there's this like crazy fight scene where he's like in a bathhouse, like a sauna type place, and he's completely naked. He hangs on. He hangs on. He's completely naked. And this assassin comes in and is going to like stab him.
Is that guy naked too?
No. And they have this they have this fight, and it's not like a Hollywood stuntman action fight. It's like two guys struggling with a knife like on top of each other, like close, like struggling to kill each other. Like it's not like action. It's not like flashy. It's like what two people struggling would look like. And
sounds like too intimate.
Yeah, it's crazy. And at one point, they're like on the ground, and he's crawling over to get the knife, and he crawls over this guy, and his dick slides along the guy's face as he's like going to try to get the knife.
Shut up.
And they show it. Dude, they show everything.
How many times did you watch that? To catch the guy's dick sliding across his face.
They just show it. It's just part of the movie. Like, it's a crazy movie, and it just stays with you. It's like,
sounds like you have a favorite part.
That's just whatever I think of that guy. That's what I think.
Yeah, I guess that would be burned in my brain too.
Yeah. And Dennis points out that that's not the character's name, and that's not even the name of the actor, which is very funny, very Mac, and very funny.
But Dennis is like, you're boning me. Right. How do you feel about that? Like, to schedule, like, you guys are coordinating to do something, especially like this at a Halloween party.
Yeah, I would say 100%. If you're saying you're going to come as somebody, then you got to go as them. Like, if you're like doing a team costume, like, that'd be so crazy to show up and not do the team costume. It'd be crazy.
But you know that who he is. It's not like, I think Dennis has a distorted version of what people are thinking when they see him as Luigi. They're not gonna like.
Yeah, I don't. Well, we will get to it later when he because does he complain here about Does he complain here about how he just looks like a plumber? No, he does that later, I think.
Yeah, he says it now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Without my Mario, what am I? I'm some weird Italian plumber. I look like an asshole. What is that? What is
like that? Like I think I would understand he's Luigi.
Yeah, me too. I think he's over it.
Luigi has his own games. Like
Luigi's Mansion. He's got his own mansion, dude.
He got his own mansion. Think about that. Mario ain't got no mansion.
Not that I know of, no.
But it is interesting that, like, you know, Luigi can stand on his own these days. I think it'd be totally fine to.
Yeah, he's become his own.
Yeah, but this is also this is old. You know, this is also 2010. I don't know. Maybe it was different. Maybe you need that Mario. And this is where where Frank comes up, and Frank and Charlie both come up together, and Frank is dressed as Spider-Man.
Yes.
But like not his. He doesn't have Spider-Man's face.
It's not even a real Spider-Man costume.
No, it's skirting the copyright laws, I believe.
Yeah. I think I bet the props and wardrobe department had a really good time doing these, you know. I would love to make Man Spider.
Have you? And so Frank comes up. Speaking of that, Frank comes up here, and he says, "Look at the turnout of our Halloween party." So yes, we are in Patty's Pub, and they have really decorated this place. Like when Frank decorated for Christmas.
Yeah, they have a spread too, I think.
Crazy, like a lot of stuff. Like everything's decorated. Even the bathroom is decorated. Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of people here dressed up in costume. Yeah. I saw like a beer bottle walking around, a pirate.
You know what's fun is the guys in the background that are in present time telling the story of the Halloween party are actually at the Halloween party in costume.
Guys. Yeah, I see.
Isn't that cool?
There. Yeah.
The regulars.
The regulars, yeah. But think this is we haven't seen the bar this packed since when? I mean, since Frank was in the basement playing Russian roulette.
No, the gang dances their asses off, maybe.
Oh, gang dances their asses off. Yeah. That was full. That's right. It's just crazy to see this. And is the bar open? What is happening?
Yeah, because who's working the bar right now? Because they're all just getting hammered, right?
Yeah, they were browning out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Frank is Spider-Man, and Charlie comes up, and Charlie's dressed like the Phantom of the Opera, but he claims to be a vampire.
I want to suck your blood. It's twilight time.
That's like a Dracula, like an old Dracula voice.
Yeah, that Transylvanian accent.
Right. So he's all mixed up because he's also talking Twilight, which they don't talk or do stuff like that.
They don't talk.
They don't talk.
I didn't know that about the movie. It's a silent movie.
They don't have accents or talk like "I want to suck your blood." Like, you know what I mean? They don't.
Right. They're just tweens, right?
Yeah. They're just vampires and werewolves and humans, just all trying to get along. You know. Have you seen any of the Twilight movies?
No, not even one.
No, me either. Moving on.
We're a lot of moving on.
We're no fun whatsoever. So Charlie has this idea that, women are into Twilight vampire stuff. Maybe the waitress this is his best shot. Maybe the waitress is.
I feel like
he doesn't even know.
Right. But I feel like Charlie, with his level of stalking, he has a guy for intel that we've referred to before. I feel like he would know, right?
Yeah, maybe he would. And Dennis points out that he's not dressed like a vampire. He's dressed like Phantom of the Opera. But he ate theater people.
No, he doesn't.
And this is so great. How do we describe what happens here?
This transaction goes one way with both Mac and Frank. They both have one opinion that's opposite, right? And then it switches on the other side of this. So he's not a vampire. He eats people.
Charlie says he eats people. Dennis says no, he doesn't. Mac says I think he might. Frank says he does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the first interaction, and then Dennis says, "I'm surprised you know who Phantom of the Opera is." Max says he might not. Frank says he doesn't.
Right. It's a good.
And the way Max go, and then the way Charlie goes, I don't. Is that incredible? I don't. He just admits it, but like it's like a ping pong. It's like do.
Right. It's
dialogue,
a perfect
like,
mirror.
Yeah. It's like a loop. It like loops around. It's very cool.
Yeah, it goes one way and then back again. I don't know. It's very fun. Great use of language, I feel like.
Yo, definitely, absolutely. And do you know anything about the Phantom of the Opera?
Bare minimum.
I looked up the Phantom of the Opera. Sounds like it kind of sucks. I don't know. Not for me, I don't think. But
Yeah.
like kidnapping a woman and trying to like force her to marry you and shit.
Oh, really?
Shit. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was about a. Okay. I have a
You thought it was about a
distorted-
guy who ate theater people?
No, I thought it was. I thought it was about a guy
Yeah.
that was like a disfigured.
Yeah, that's right.
Monster man.
That's right.
That was also like a brilliant singer,
No.
genius, but like he haunted the theater and tried to scare other performers out.
He did haunt the theater, and I believe he does play like the violin or something. But one of the actors that's gonna be in the play, he kidnaps her and like falls in love with her and kidnaps her and like takes her to his lair and wants her to marry him. And
It sounds like a Super Mario Brothers game.
Yeah,
Sorry,
maybe-
the princess is at another castle.
Yeah. At least that's what I'm getting from the Wikipedia. I've never seen it's from a book, and I've never seen or read Phantom of the Opera, but that's what I'm getting from Wikipedia. He didn't say anything about eating theater people, so then Dee comes up here, and we see Dee dressed as she puts it, a sexy angel.
Mm-hmm. This party blows.
Yeah.
There's no studs here. No beef in the freezer, if you know what I mean.
No beef in the freezer. She says it's so casual too. And so they want to know, why would she wear a costume with wings? What is she thinking?
If you're gonna be sexy, don't dress like a bird, Dee.
She clearly is not a bird.
No, yeah, she's clearly an angel, as she says.
And so you can see that Dee is pregnant here. Like you can see it, even though it's like supposed to be the past.
Yeah, sure. And they're speculating this is the night she conceived the baby.
And I think this is a subtle joke that they never point out or say, that she's already visibly pregnant. They're trying to figure out who got Dee pregnant when she clearly is already pregnant. It's how little they pay attention to her. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like they're too stupid to even go, oh, she already was. Like, what are we trying to figure out? You know what I mean? I think that's a subtle joke. That's why they don't really try to hide it there, because it's like, oh, they weren't even paying attention then.
Okay. That's one way to look at it, yeah.
Did they say anything like that in the commentary? They don't mention that at all.
No.
That's interesting. I felt like it was like a subtle joke. Like, look, we're just gonna show she's pregnant at the party to make it even funnier that they're trying to figure out who did it.
I mean, that could have been an option. Good insight.
She's not a giant bird. She's clearly a sexy angel. And besides, look at this coos over here. This peacock, giant green bird. So she points out a woman over here in a peacock outfit. She calls her I did say the word. I mean, that word is kind of offensive. It can be offensive.
I had to look it up. It refers to women's genitals.
Yeah, it's like an old-timey term. Like, it's like a pretty old-timey term. I've heard it before. I don't know. I can't say if it's offensive or not, because obviously that's what Dee calls her, and it's an old-fashioned, just like an old-fashioned just
Slang.
derogatory term. Yeah, like it's like how you would say it in London. It's like kind of, you know what I mean?
What do you think its equivalent is now, if you had to
C word,
guess?
the C word.
Really? That harsh?
Oh no, maybe not that. Yeah, not that harsh.
Like that skank, maybe?
That skank. Yeah.
Or that hoe.
Yeah, probably something like that. I would say
Something like
yes.
mid-level
Yeah,
offensive.
That skank sounds about right.
Mid-level offensive.
Mid-level offensive. Yeah, exactly. And it's just funny for Dee to pull that word out. Like, it's something Frank would say.
Yeah, that's it, of his time.
Yeah, it's like, where's Dee coming from? She points out this woman in this peacock outfit, and they're not in on the joke because they're impressed. she wears it well.
Woof, woof. She wears it well. So well, in fact, that I have now pinpointed her as my prey for the evening.
And then he does this crazy voice that is hard to like even understand why.
Is this Borat or Luigi? She will be mine.
I'm not.
You know what I
sure.
mean? Like, it sounds like
I think
Borat
it's just
to me.
improvised. I think it's just improvised weirdness. Just like,
Yeah.
You will be mine. I can't even do it. I don't think I can do it. She will be mine.
Will be mine.
Get out of my way, bird. He walks away.
Really shoves her, though.
He shoves her out of the way, right? Back in the present, Mac backs up Dennis's story, and Dennis starts to tell his version of the inciting incident.
This is all sounding right. I remember this.
Yeah, so, we should keep track. This right here doesn't change. There's parts of the story that don't ever change. This is one of them. This beginning part. After the inciting incident, which is the fight, the waitress coming in, that's where it diverges. That's where we get the different timelines of like whatever happens. But everything up until that point is sort of actually what happened. Accurate, yeah. That's why Mac backs it up. That's why, yes, this is what
it's
happened.
a good base for divergence, right?
That's right. We're setting up our base before we split into our different recollections. And this is like just a quick little palate cleanser of a scene, quick little break. We just pop back to the present, and so Dennis starts talking about how he remembered a commotion at the bar. So we established where Dennis was when the fight broke out. We'll learn later it's a fight, but we established Dennis was nowhere near that. He was over at the Peacock Lady when the fight was going down. So that's where Dennis... It's kind of like a murder mystery, isn't it? You need to know where everybody is.
Yeah.
I
wish there was like a diagram that went with this.
Right. Dennis is with the Peacock Lady at this point. And we get a quick little cut to the flashback of him talking to the Peacock Lady. And then we cut back. And Dennis explains, he didn't care about that lady. the lady that was upset. He said he heard some lady in distress and whatever. And he didn't really care about that lady. And despite the fact that he looked like... This is so funny to me because I don't understand. Despite looking like a cartoon bricklayer, he was getting close to sealing the deal. Now, a cartoon bricklayer... He's a plumber. Like, what does he mean?
Right.
Because he breaks bricks sometimes?
He just looks like a construction worker of some sort, right? He looks like he's in
I don't
uniform.
know. But the term bricklayer as like a title is very funny to me. A cartoon bricklayer.
I mean, Mario breaks bricks, but...
Yeah. So then we cut to Dennis's perspective of the party, and as he is getting rejected by the Peacock Lady, Charlie comes up upset, and Dennis and Charlie agree to switch costumes. So he was getting close to sealing the deal. We cut to the Peacock Lady yelling at him. Great transition. Because his costume's weird. He's creepy. He's laughing and saying yes. Does he want this? Is this part of his Dennis system, part of his plan?
That's what I was wondering, because he mentioned he was starting to get close to sealing the deal, right?
Right, yeah.
So to him, this woman objecting to him is part of the process.
That's what it seems like. Or unless he's just embellishing that he was getting close and he wasn't.
Right.
But Dennis is the type to, like, have a plan.
Right. So I think this is part of his plan.
Maybe.
And we've seen the Dennis system, so this would align perfectly.
So then she storms off, and Charlie comes up, and he's talking about his stupid costume. It's so sexy, and they were just friends, and he's going on and on. So this sort of sets up our first clue, I guess, or our first... And oh my goodness! Oh, Ross, I'm so stupid too. What do we got on the Peacock Lady before we get? I'm too wrapped up in the mystery. What do we got on the Peacock Lady?
I know. Peacock Woman is played by Stacey Stas Hurst. She was born 1982. She was in Drop Dead Diva, Femme Fatales, Entourage, Iron Man, and Rules of Engagement.
Nice. Yeah. So she storms off after her, and Charlie comes up and he's talking about his stupid costume. It's so sexy, and and he seems to be talking about a friend. No, you're just a friend. This sort of sets up our...
yeah, he's like kind of a blubbering mess. He says, I can't believe it, man. She takes advantage of me. I'm like, oh my God, you look so sexy. I'm going to sex you all up. And I'm like, you're just my friend. Get your sex off me.
Right, and it's just vague enough for us to be like, oh, this is our first hint that it was D here.
Right.
You know? And so yeah, he's all upset about his costume, but he thinks his costume is the problem.
Yeah, it's the sexiest costume in the world. He hates it.
And this is where Dennis gets the idea. See, that's why I don't know if it was part of his plan early, because it seems like he's improvising right here about switching costumes.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows?
Oh, yeah. Because this could be a perfect part of the Dennis system to create a fictional character, which is himself, to get away from, and then he could become the Phantom of Opera and sweep her off her feet.
It's just devious enough for Dennis.
Yeah.
So yeah, they switch costumes, and yeah, so that's where they sort of walk off here together. So then back in the present, there is some confusion about the mystery, and Charlie is accused of being the father. So when they come back to the present, that's what happened. They switched costumes. Dennis was able to fell the seductive temptress. Mystery solved. Credits. Ross, what is your favorite character?
That's not the mystery.
The D thing's the mystery. All right. D. Cool.
That you bang the peacock chick is not the mystery.
This is one of the funniest moments of the whole episode. It really is so funny. Like, and the fact that, like,
awesome.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That is so awesome, dude. Like,
well, mystery solved.
Mystery solved. And when he says that's not the mystery, I love Dennis is going, oh, like right away. He goes, the D thing. All right. That is so funny. It really is one of the funniest parts of the episode. And yeah, so from that story, it seems like Charlie, they say, Charlie, you're the father. And because Charlie clearly remembers crying. But, oh wait, it starts to come back to him. Those were tears of joy. So then he starts to tell his version. We then see Charlie's perspective of the events at the Halloween party. So it starts off here with Charlie overhearing Artemis and Frank talking at the bar, yelling, having an argument at the bar. So this sets up this now where this is happening.
Yeah, we get our first reoccurring, Artemis.
This is the
Welcome
diversion.
back, Artemis Pibdani.
Yeah, and Artemis is a gothic nun. We should say, right? Is that what you would call her, or a satanic
I guess
nun,
so.
or?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what costumes are.
So they're having an argument at the bar, but while that's happening, Charlie is over talking to the McPoyles. So while Artemis and Frank are having an argument, Charlie is talking with McPoyles, and Dennis is talking with the Peacock Lady.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the McPoyles. We got Artemis and the McPoyles in like a 1-2 punch. It's pretty great.
Yeah, welcome back Nate Mooney as Ryan McPoyle and Jimmy Simpson as Liam McPoyle.
So funny, like they might be probably my favorite cat. I mean, they're so funny in this, especially at the end. I mean,
they're a lot
to
of
me,
fun.
it's this standout. I mean, I think this is I like this appearance from them even better than the gang gets held hostage. I think.
Really?
Even how quick this is. There's something about what they do at the end that is so funny and crazy. It's just
vomiting.
All of it. The everything. We'll get there. So Charlie sets up that he was finalizing a delicate truce between the McPoyles and I guess the gang.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it sort of gets off the voiceover and we get into the scene. In this version, we should point out here at the beginning, in this version right now, the McPoyles are into this. They like this truce.
And they in fact bump it.
They would like to bump it. There's a truce between the two gangs? What are they?
And they're rivals for sure. We should say the McPoyles are in their classic robes. They got their glasses of milk.
I mean, could there be any other way?
Nope. And does the bar serve milk, or do they bring their own milk?
That's a great question. They had milk the last time they were in the bar too, and the gang gets held hostage. Remember they hand them milk?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Do they either the bar stocks milk, which I doubt, and I wouldn't trust, or they bring milk. And Dee has a quick little appearance here. As Dee walks by, says hi to Charlie.
Yeah,
Charlie
says
hi back to her.
On.
Yeah, and they're very pleasant to each other.
Well, they're so nice to each other.
I like your costume. Thank you, Charlie. Like they say this like thing back.
Yeah.
I like your feathers.
And Charlie's like, I like your feathers. So we have this like, we should mention this like D game of her becoming more and more like a bird throughout the retellings of the stories.
Every time someone tells it, yeah, her costume changes just slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Until completely. And they're nice to each other here, and you'll see later on in another flashback when Dee walks by here, they actually say like, I forget, I will get to it later, but she's like, shut up. Like they say something to each other like not nice.
Yeah, it's very dismissive and
it's
like,
the same, it's the same interaction, but we see the not nice version of it later on.
Yeah.
And in comes the waitress, and I don't even know how to describe this. Masked Victorian people? What are waitress and her new boyfriend?
Maybe Gothic?
Just Gothic? What is that?
Gothic Victorian something? I don't know.
Yeah, they're just like masquerade people.
They look like they're here for the orgy.
Yes, they do. Yes, they most certainly do. So in comes the waitress, and he must have received Charlie's invitations.
And he does a nice like cape throw too.
Yeah, throws his cape over.
To be theatric
cool.
about it. He's really playing the opera role.
Yeah, the waitress got all 100 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Who's this jerk?
This is my new boyfriend. He's here to protect me.
Ross, who is this jerk?
This jerk is Eric, played by Michael Trotter, who is apparently a friend of the gang. He was in The Right Stuff, Underground, The House Bunny, Bones, and Evening Hour.
Do they mention anything about his name being Eric?
For any specific reason? No.
No.
I mean, the woman at the end gets a name too.
Right. Well, Eric is the name of the Phantom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the real name of the Phantom is Eric with a K.
Oh, this one's a C. So
yeah, me too. But the Phantom's name is also Eric. I'm not sure.
Does he have a last name?
I think he does, but I forget what it is now. I just noticed the Eric because I also saw this character's name is Eric.
Oh.
Very interesting. This is the waitress's new boyfriend. But Charlie says something strange here. He wants the guy to know that the lady is taken.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that works at all.
It's so like misogynistic too, of like the lady's not property.
Yeah, I mean, to even like get in a physical fight over it, and then even when the waitress is like, "Hey, leave us alone," he says, "I have to defend your honor," which is like,
what does he mean?
What are
by
you
that?
talking about? He's just creating like a fight for no reason.
He's gonna defend her honor, and Mac, get my back. And we have Mac come running up, and Mac punches the guy, who knocks him into Ryan, who splashes milk onto Dee. Is it Liam?
In my notes, I have Charlie punches Eric.
Right.
Eric falls into the McPoyles, and the McPoyles splash the milk.
Yeah, no, it's Ryan. It's Ryan specifically. They both stand next to it, but it's Ryan's glass of milk. Yeah. So it's Guy into Ryan into Dee. This is the first one because it goes into people. This happens quite a bit.
Yeah, it has a lot of renditions in different versions.
Right.
But in this one, my notes say Charlie punches Eric. The crowd gasps. Eric falls into Ryan McPoyle and splashes Dee with the milk. God damn it, I get milk all over me. What a line we get to hear so many times.
That is a constant. This right here is a constant. Milk does get splashed on Dee.
All over her.
Yes, this is
reported.
How it happens switches a little bit, but this is a constant. And the waitress, that was insanely masculine. Now the term insanely masculine, that sort of is a constant sort of. It's something is said there that sounds like that, but it just switches. But yeah, so the waitress finds that insanely masculine, and she starts making out with Charlie. So then back in the present, Frank tells Charlie he got it half right, and Frank tries to set the record straight. So he's excited he made out with the waitress. He's going to go.
That's amazing. I got to call it. I got to get out of here. He's like on his way out the door, and they're like, no, Charlie.
Yeah, Frank says
not the way it happened.
Not the way it happened. He left some stuff out, but Frank wants to set the record straight. And don't say he went as Spider-Man. He didn't go as Spider-Man. He went as Man Spider. Totally different. Do you know anything about Man Spider?
No, do you?
Yeah, it's a comic book. He's a Spider-Man villain.
Oh, he is?
He is, yes.
Dude, I had no idea.
He is a human-sized... It would be as if a spider turned into, like, a spider got human powers. Like, a spider turns into a human. It's like the opposite. So it's like a big, giant spider with all the arms, but it also is, like, legs.
Does it have a human head?
And kind of, yeah. But it has all the eyes and stuff, but it's got the human head where the human head would be.
Okay.
And he's just like a Spider-Man villain. He's like a mutated spider. Man Spider.
Interesting.
He wears Spider-Man's outfit, too.
Okay. This could not be more confusing.
Welcome to Spider-Man, my dude.
So is Frank accurately dressed as Man Spider?
Kind of. Like, he is kind of... Why his suit is black, I'm not sure. But he does kind of like have the Spider-Man symbol on his chest, which he would have. But most of the Man Spider pictures I've seen, and the Man Spider I'm familiar with from the 90s, wears, like, Spider-Man's, like... But it's ripped, so his arms can, like, pop through the sides, you know, because he has more arms. But it's, like, basically the same thing as... I think he's trying and wants to be Spider-Man or something.
Okay.
So, yeah. He is totally different, though. He's Man Spider.
Well.
Totally different thing. And we cut when he says that I was the Man Spider. We quickly cut to see him in Artemis, and he's in his new costume, and it's kind of similar where the face is cut out, but he's wearing a black skin suit.
It's different coloring, right? And he's got those like eyes, the googly eyes on his arms, shoulders, chest.
The googly eyes is the best part because the eyes, the spider has all the eyes, so just like glued all these eyes, like then they're like they seem so haphazardly placed. They're just kind of placed anywhere,
right?
And he explains why him and Artemis were arguing. They had makeup sex in a dumpster behind Wendy's. We see it.
We cut to the dumpster, like shaking, and we hear the moaning and all the grunts and noises.
She incorporated a bun into the lovemaking, and she rolled the dough into a ball, and they were going berserk, and she loves it, and Frank, he loves it too. I love the way he says that.
At the end, he's so like ashamed almost. He's like, I admit I like it too. Dennis, I'm sorry. Glenn almost breaks so hard at the end of that. He's barely holding on.
And because they interrupt him, and they're like, we don't need to know any of that. Just stick to Halloween. Just stick to the Halloween. So then we see the night's events unfold from Frank's perspective. Artemis wanted another dumpster hump, and Frank didn't. So this is what the argument was about. He wanted to stay at the party.
Mm-hmm.
We hear the defend my honor that starts breaking out. Get my back. Mac, get my back. And Mac runs into Charlie, who runs into Eric, who runs into Ryan, who runs into Dee. It's more or less the same.
Right. Yeah, but we get the extra Mac push. It's more of like a domino right there.
Yeah. We get the Mac not punching him this time. It's Mac even being worse at it. Yeah. And the waitress is like, are you insane? And she walks out, and this is where Artemis says, insanely masculine, and starts making out with him.
Yeah, you're insane. Insanely masculine.
This one's tweaked pretty slightly, because they start going real crazy different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is like just a hair different. Yeah,
this is a hair different, because, it's just tweaked just a little bit. And we get a Frank voiceover. Because it's weird, like, sometimes they have a voiceover over the flashback, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's just this flashback. It's kind of like when in the Christmas episode where one flashback was like through a camera and the other one like wasn't.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like the flashback formula is not set in stone. So yeah, we get a voiceover from Frank. Charlie left, and he was muttering to himself about his costume being too sexy. So we know where he ends up going. We could piece together he meets up with Dennis at that point.
Yeah, we see Charlie storming off. Not from you, stupid sexy costume. Like, he's storming off, and that's probably when he bumps right into Dennis.
So in the present, Charlie hopes Frank's memory is incorrect, and none of them say anything. And do we even have to say anything? This is a 6-second scene.
This is a commercial break.
Is this the shortest scene we've ever had?
Yeah,
6
likely.
seconds.
Likely.
Yeah. So yeah, they don't say anything. So then after the commercial break, at the bar, Artemis shows up to tell the gang what she remembers from the night. Knock, knock, Dickfaces. Artemis is in town.
I love this because this is almost like different than like the regular just storytelling because this is more of like a Q&A.
Yeah, and they gotta so it's like their investigation has now brought them to where they need to start getting
Witnesses.
outside witnesses. Yes.
Yeah.
They've sort of hit an impasse of as much information as that's all the information they know. And they know Artemis was there, so she's the next one to go to.
Yeah. Adi, thanks for coming so quick.
Yeah, he
Listen,
calls
we're
her
trying to piece
Artie.
together a night and we need some guidance.
How about that, calling her Artie?
I love it.
Is that like a actor choice? Is that written?
Because we don't hear it again, I don't think.
Yeah, they're trying to piece together a night. They don't really remember it.
And she
So
doesn't
the-
either. She says, I don't remember that night.
He didn't even tell her what night it was.
I don't remember most evenings.
I don't remember most evenings. She's so like.
I love the
That's
sass.
a great line. That's a great line. I don't remember most evenings. And they just automatically hand her a beer. You notice that?
Mhm. Yeah.
They just don't. They don't even say anything. She didn't ask for one. They just hand her a beer. And yes, she actually can recall some of the stuff from Halloween because it was quite a night. And she begins to explain that her and Frank were having a fight about the dumpster, the Wendy's dumpster we heard about earlier. And we see it again.
Yeah, and as she says, she incorporated a bun into the lovemaking that he found very...
Dennis starts stopping her right now. Like, why does everyone think we want to know that? I mean...
Because it's really interesting and innovative, and I thought maybe you want some lessons.
So, no, they're just like, all right, let's just stick to the... No, this is what Charlie just sort of says. Did you make out with me? And
I
yeah,
sure
she
did.
She did. She sure did.
And it worked like a charm.
Yeah, it was to make Frank jealous. This is all true. This is all
Just
backed
confirming
up.
Frank's story, really.
Confirming Frank's story, yeah. And this is when they asked about Dee. They go, well, we're trying to figure out Dee got pregnant. We're trying to figure that out. And, well, that makes sense. And she accuses Mac.
Yeah, Max slept with her at the party.
And why would she say something like that?
Well, she has some, evidence.
What'd she do? Hear it with her own 2 eyeballs?
I think so. I'm talking about hot, passionate sounds of lovemaking that was coming from the bathroom that I heard with my own 2 earballs.
So then we hear Artemis's voiceover, and we see what happened from her perspective. So she sort of just picks up after the fight. She mentions the fight and the kiss, and we get a pan over, and we see Mac holding his hand. He's got blood on his knuckles, and he's kind of holding his hand like he's hurt. She explains so she just explains, and from her perspective, we see when the flashback picks up, we already see Dee covered in milk. But Dee, why is Artemis describing Dee looking like a bird? Because Dee's costume changes here again.
Yeah.
From Artemis's perspective.
Yeah, she even has a beak on her face at this point.
It's even worse. Yeah, it's worse
Yeah.
than it's been any
so
of them.
far. So, is this almost like each character's perception of Dee?
I think it is. Yeah, but why is Artemis throwing shade?
I don't know. Because Mac has it the worst with her. Charlie kind of hints, yeah, she's a bird. In Dennis's story, they just all uniformly call her a bird.
Right. Yeah. It just seems strange that in Artemis's perspective.
Yeah, it does
they're
seem
getting a
shady.
D chain.
And they're supposed to be friends, right?
And yeah, and instead of a halo on her head, it's just a feather.
Yeah.
And so Mac goes to the bathroom to wash the blood off, and then Dee also goes to the men's room. And while that's happening, Frank apologizes to Artemis, and they decide to go have sex, make up sex in the men's room. And that's when she heard lovemaking coming out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
So it stands to reason. I mean, from her, last she saw, Dee and Mac were in the bathroom.
Yeah, the men's room together. Dee went into the men's room because the ladies' room was too long.
Right.
Mac had to go wash his blood off his hands, right?
Right, yeah.
So that puts them both in the same space at the same time,
Right.
in her perspective.
And while this is happening, Charlie and Dennis are switching outfits. That's what
right.
those two are doing. So in the present, Mac comes clean with what really happened in the men's room.
Max the dad. Max the dad.
Chant
Chant
with
with
me.
me. I'm not the dad, okay, Charlie? Trust me on that.
Well, before we even get to that, they do a quick little. We figure out where Frank and Artemis are during the end of this.
That's true.
They're in Artemis's station wagon, getting a hand jobbing each other.
Hand jobbing each other.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so Mac has been accused as a father. As Dennis says, all the evidence is pointing towards Mac.
Yeah. And this is where Mac has to admit, yeah, they were passionate sounds of lovemaking coming from the bathroom, but it wasn't me and Dee. Damn it.
So then we see Mac's perspective of the night's events play out under his voiceover. So he was going to help. First thing he remembers is he was going to help Charlie from getting his ass kicked by this giant dude. So now we have a different guy playing Eric.
Right.
Do you have anything on this guy?
Yeah. Big Eric is played by Brendan Molal. He was born 1971 from Pocatello, Idaho. He has steadily been working since 1980. He's just like a generic, like, we need a big dude.
Yeah.
He seems to get a lot of like comedy roles. He was in Reno 911 a bunch, Space Force, Grownish, Mr. Deeds, Boy Meets World, The Rundown. And do you remember Dodgeball?
Yeah, of course.
Ben Stiller's team.
Yeah.
Laser.
He's Laser?
Blazer. He's Blazer.
Oh,
He's one of the Azers.
Yeah, that's so funny. Don't you look? Max is the most divergent of all the timelines. Don't you think?
Yes, this is the most outlandish, and it kind of reminds me of Mac's Big Break, that theatrical viewpoint.
And I just love that this guy is a giant dude now. In this version, he's a giant dude.
Right. Prior to this, he was like just Charlie, basically, another Charlie.
No time for an ocular pat down, and so he runs up and he decks this guy, takes him right out.
Oh yeah, he just knocks him clean out.
He secured the area.
Yeah, he
retained
puts on
order.
Yeah, he puts on like as the commentary referred to as gas station sunglasses. It's cool now.
Everybody chill. It's cool now. And he start cheering. Everyone's going nuts.
Yeah, he strikes a pose.
And so that's when he went to the bathroom because he had a tremendous amount of douchebag blood on him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's in the bathroom. So now we're getting his perspective. This is stuff only he would know. You know, now we're getting new information.
Sure, this is like private information. This is exclusive information.
And in the bathroom, we see Dee come in. Well, we see an ostrich come in.
Yes. So, there's actually 3 versions of this scene. There's the version of Dee, just regular Dee and Mac. There's a version where Mac is playing with a mascot-looking bird.
Okay.
To be Dee, and then one with the ostrich. And
okay.
Obviously, the ostrich is by far the funniest.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and he's having a conversation like as if the ostrich is responding to him and stuff. Like he's having a conversation.
Right. Yeah, but like the cawing noise is so funny.
So he shoots out Dee the ostrich. We get a music sting, and we see Margaret McPoyle in the mirror.
Yeah. So when Dee leaves. And he turns to that mirror, and he gets like Margaret in the back, like in the reflection. It's pretty jarring. So we get Margaret McPoyle coming back, played by Thessie Surface. Welcome back.
She's dressed like the devil, like a devil.
Well, I mean, she's dressed like Margaret McPoyle with like the devil horns.
She also like on her shirt is a picture of a devil, like a cartoon devil is on her shirt too. And she starts licking her lips.
That is so great. You're always doing that. Are you trying to tell me something? Is that a sexual thing?
And then, all right, let's do this. And we should say, too, about, like, the decorations, how they have decorations everywhere. Like, the bathroom is decorated like Halloween. And there's a bowl of candy corn, which is, to me, so gross to have in the bathroom.
In the bathroom, yeah. A little gross. But, I don't know. It's interesting to see them actually do something like this.
Right, yeah. Put some effort into it.
Yeah. Just like be hosts.
So in the present, the gang decides to ask the McPoyles about the night. So we come back to the present in the bar, and they're like, "Oh shit, okay, he slept with Margaret McPoyle."
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to really confirm this is they got to talk to the McPoyles. They were drinking milk.
Yeah. The only consistent part of the story is that they were there and drinking milk. Everyone else is pretty wasted.
Yeah,
pretty browned out.
They'd be stone cold sober. And then we got a little shit from Charlie. Shit, like dealing with these guys.
At first he was like kind of on board, like, yeah, we gotta go talk to them, and then he realizes, oh shit, we actually have to go do it.
They got a truce, so I don't know what they're worried about. In the McPoyles' apartment, the McPoyles sit across from Dennis, Mac, Charlie, and Frank, and they remember the night. Yeah, they remember that night well.
As do I, quite well.
When he goes, "You were all very, very drunk." The way he goes, "You should be ashamed." You should feel shame. Yeah, you should feel shame. The way he says, like he drags out the
shame.
like,
he's so weird, man.
It's like you should feel shame.
What a fun character to get to play, though.
Oh my goodness!
Like you get the freedom to just be weird. That's the objective. Like creep people out.
Yeah, you just say any crazy shit you want. You should feel shame. Well, don't give them judgment. We don't want judgments. Don't give us judgments. So so they just tell us about the night. So they start. They were just finishing accepting Charlie's terrible truths. So we cut to a flashback and we see the events of the night as the McPoyles saw it. So Charlie is visibly drunk this time. So we see him by the jukebox talking to McPoyles.
Yeah, he's wasted. He's not really even coherent. He's like, "That's the whole truce. If you guys are cool with it, I'd be cool with it." It's like,
yeah, they're like, whatever. And so we already saw the scene once where they were into it and they bumped it. So now they're not into it, and when Charlie is trying to initiate the bump, and they're like, "No, we're not bumping."
Liam even says, "Just get out of our faces. Your breath is awful."
Yeah, they're so not into this.
Isn't that a recurring thing that Charlie has bad breath?
Yeah, I think it's something to do with the cheese. Charlie does this thing here where he goes, "They won't bump you." Good truce. He says like a bunch of them.
What about this one? Bump it. You bump. Cool. That's cool, guys. Good truce. Good truce.
And this is when Dee goes, "Hey Dee, shut up."
Yeah, very different. Very different.
Then in comes a woman who is definitely not the waitress, and a man. Is there anything on these two?
Eric is Eric, and Amy, the new version of the waitress, I guess, is played by Alice McDonald. She was in Happy Endings, Angel of Death, Contracted, The Art of Storytelling, and Almost Vegas.
Hello. I see you accepted my invitation. Why is he talking like that? I see you got my invitation.
I think
in some crazy way.
I think it's funny because he, in his version, he does try to be like a little like theatrical about it.
Yeah.
And this is how it comes off to a sober person.
It starts playing out similar to the first time. Who's this jerk? He's my boyfriend. I have to defend your honor. Mac, get my back. But this time, Mac comes running up into... So Mac bumps into Charlie, then Charlie into Ryan, then that Ryan into Dee.
Mm-hmm.
And Dee's not a bird or anything. She's in her regular angel.
Yeah.
So the McPoyles...
actually see her for who she is.
Right. Because you would think like now maybe she would be like that bird or something, but like...
Yeah, because it's not a true escalation every time. To me, it's more of a perception of who's telling the story.
Right. Yeah. But they don't... The Dee's just... When Dee gets the milk, she's in her regular costume. And then now is when Mac runs up. So Mac ran up like before the milk in all the other versions.
Mm-hmm.
But in this version... Viggo Mortensen! He comes up and he punches the
Amy. Yeah, not the waitress.
Not the waitress. Artemis grabs Charlie and says, "I'm insanely high on mescaline." Which is such a great play on insanely masculine.
Yes, it's like what's that called when something just sounds the same?
A simile?
No. It's
a soft rhyme.
Yeah, something like that.
Russ, do you know what mescaline is?
It's a drug.
Yeah, it's a drug. It's a hallucinogen that comes from button-shaped seeds found in peyote cactus.
Is it like a liquid?
It says it's a hallucinogen that comes from button-shaped seeds. I don't know.
See, to me, mescaline sounds like something that comes in like a syringe or something.
Yeah. To me, it sounds like it comes in an inhaler.
Like, give me 60 cc's of mescaline.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
I don't know.
Question.
I have no idea. Anyway, she plants like a big fat kiss on Charlie.
Yeah. So then in the present, the McPoyles congratulate Macwell on his performance before continuing the story.
Are you telling me that wasn't even the waitress?
Not at all.
After the fight, Mac went to the bathroom to wash that poor girl's blood off his hands. And Dee followed. They were only in there a short moment together before Dee came back out. Mac kicked her out of the bathroom so he could make sweet love to Margaret in private.
I heard you gave quite a performance, Macwell.
Okay, that's enough, all right? God, that's your sister.
Yeah.
You know what? Just move past it. Tell the story, please.
She's still expecting a call.
Okay. That's not gonna happen, so just move past it, all right?
You will call her!
Jesus, man, I'm sorry. Fine, I'll call her.
So wait, that wasn't the waitress?
No, not at all.
They confirm it. No, that was not the waitress. And Mac was in the bathroom washing that poor girl's blood off. And Dee came back out. So we get confirmation that, yes,
She was in there.
she was in there but came out so that they could have some privacy so Macwell can make sweet, sweet love to Margaret. You put on quite a performance. The clapping. You put on quite a performance, Macwell. She's expecting a call.
Well, it's just not going to happen.
You will call her.
You call her.
That is incredible. Is
so
that
many-
improvised? I mean,
Yeah, there's so many outtakes of it. Like, he does it like 10 times, and they laugh every time.
Now,
Enjoy
Ross,
those.
explain to me how someone can call Margaret McPoyle.
A mute?
A mute and she's deaf and doesn't talk. How is Matt
Is she
going to
deaf?
call her? Don't they say that?
I don't know if
Yeah,
she's deaf.
I'm pretty sure
Well,
she is.
Oh, well, I know she's in mute, so I don't know what kind of conversation she's going to be up to.
Yeah, I don't know. You will call her.
You will call her.
And like they have faces and they're like, whoa.
Jesus, man. Sorry, fine. I'll call her.
And then they go back into the story. So we continue to see the McPoyles' perspective of the night, and we get some more information on what happened after the bathroom. So now we're finally progressing to after the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Dee came out in a rage, it turns out, and she starts yelling at the peacock lady, "You big hot bird."
Stupid costume. Everyone call me a bird. So she's on like kind of like a tear, and she like kind of walks
Yeah.
right over to the peacock lady, right?
Yeah, and she wants to switch costumes with her. So now we're getting more mix-up stuff happening. So she wants to switch costumes. Switch me mine.
Yeah, she's talking like Charlie's mom.
Yeah.
She's so primitive. It's like me, mine, give now. Like,
And when the peacock lady says no, like, I don't think so, Dita's like, oh, I don't think so. She does like a mocking, I don't think so. But it's a win-win, because one, if they switch costumes, the weird plumber will leave her alone. And second, she's not going to beat the shit out of her.
and that's reason enough.
Dita's scary.
Yeah, I wouldn't fuck with her.
Yeah. So then they go in and into the bathroom, and they come out, and Dee is now dressed as the peacock. Let's see who's sexy now, dickwads.
It'd be funny to see this other woman in Dee's costume, and it like
I know.
just is like weird on her. It's like too big or something.
Yeah, definitely. And so Dee comes walking out, and Dee's on a tear. She wants to prove how sexy she is to any one of them, and we get this slow-mo.
Yeah,
This
we
like
get this
dramatic,
with like a drum beat even too.
So she was going to trick one of you two into making love with her, and now They start talking about how Charlie's the weakest and most vulnerable. How do they
vulnerable.
know all this?
I don't know. It's like a real. It's like
They have more information than you think they would. Like, clearly she knew that Charlie was the most vulnerable. Like, they knew like what was happening. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like very like predatory of them to like have that vantage point.
Yeah, to pick up on all this stuff that's happening, like understand Dee's motivations and like why she would choose Charlie.
So perceptive. I didn't.
Yeah, Charlie's the weakest and most vulnerable, and she kind of grabs she walks by, grabs the Phantom, and pulls the Phantom into the back office.
Yeah, and the Phantom does like a big turnaround. That's like kind of like dramatic, right?
Dramatic, yeah. So then in the present, Charlie lets everyone know that he wasn't the Phantom. He switched with Dennis. And thus, we have our comedy of errors. Russ, do you know what a comedy of errors is?
Sure. Explain.
Well, a comedy, it's a Shakespeare thing. It's a Shakespeare term. And
it's like mishaps.
It's misunderstandings. It's exactly this. Like, this is like a Shakespeare play, like how this is unfolding. Like the constant miscommunications and the misperceptions of things that's happening. That's a comedy of errors. It's what people in the 1600s thought was the funniest thing that could ever happen. Is someone to think that someone was someone that they weren't is the funniest thing that could ever happen.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I mean, in this episode, it's scary, but
right. You're right, but yeah, the think someone was someone who they're not. I mean, that is funny.
Or scary.
Yeah.
It goes either way.
Yeah. So they start piecing it together. Dee thought Dennis was Charlie. And then we see it. We see the slow-mo of the Phantom being pulled, and it is Dennis whose face we see.
Yeah, we see like a second take of it. And then like them go into the office, and then the slam of the door and the noise. And we see the skull on the door.
Right.
So like doomish.
Dennis is the dad. Bell. Bing. Delightful. Of course they like that.
Yeah, it's like they're into that incest thing.
Oh yeah, I would say so. And Dennis is gonna be sick. He starts like retching here and being like he's gonna vomit.
Yeah, feel it. Let it out.
Do it.
Do it.
And he gets up and don't flush.
Yeah.
They're
Dennis gets
insane.
up to go to the bathroom, and Ryan asks, "Don't flush."
So then at Dee's apartment, Dee lets them know that none of them are the father, and she won't tell them who is. They start knocking on the wall. This is bad. This is real bad. Frank freaking out. And when the door opens, they explain. They explain to her what they think happened. And don't you love this? Like when they explain to Dee and they point over like, it was Dennis. Dennis is fine. They point over and Dennis is like leaning up against the wall, like still winded and sick,
exhausted. Like his body like can't even stand itself up. He's so feeble from how sick he is.
And he says an interesting thing. He goes, "It was sex with you. It was sex with me. It was sex with me." Like he's trying to deflect blame. He's saying it was sex with me. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like
I don't know. He says I had sex with you. It was sex with me. I think he's just confirming that. Like I think we had sex together.
Yeah. We're gonna get you and that monster out of you and that monster you got down to Mexico ASAP.
Are you kidding me? I did not have sex with Dennis.
Charlie says, "Yes, you did." He's like, "Yes, you did.
Yeah,
you
he
wanted sex
yells.
from me." He throws in the "you wanted sex from me." I think like,
yeah, you went to the back office with him, not me. You thought it was me because you wanted sex from me, but you got sex from Dennis.
And she says, like, lays it down, like, gross. That did not happen. Like, just because we went back there, that's not what happened.
Yeah, you've been assessing over this all night?
Yes, they have. They've been running around. Yeah, she says, they've been stressing about it all night. And she says, no, it's none of you. And they say, are you sure? And she goes, yeah. And they just go, whoa. The way they go, whoa. They all start relaxing. Frank's like banging his neck.
Even Dennis's is like by far above and beyond everybody else's. He's doing like delirious like ha 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 ha. It's like exaggerated.
Well, you know what? Dee's not going to tell any of them who the father actually is.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit? D. Like, why would you think they care if it's not about them?
Yeah, exactly. They're all about themselves. She's like, you all give a shit. You just said so. You were up all night. You were thinking about it. But even Charlie, as he says, but that was before you said it was one of us. Now that it's one of us, who cares? Frank's like, it's no big deal.
They slam the door and woo, dodged a bullet. And we all dodged a bullet.
Hey, what about that museum?
That's right, the museum. They might have time. Yeah, right, the museum. And so they're going to get out of there. We're going to go, you look like a turkey.
You look like an ostrich.
An ostrich? Maybe Mac will call her an emu, but he'll save it.
Yeah, save it for later.
And as they're walking away, Frank says, "You're a big, fat, flightless bird."
Yeah, and they all agreed that that's sort of like the generic, like general overall umbrella that the terms are under.
Okay, I want to read you. This is from the IMDb trivia. They really need to teach people what is and isn't trivia. Okay. Someone actually wrote this. At the end of the episode, Frank calls Dee a fat, flightless bird. Danny DeVito, who plays Frank, played the Penguin in Batman Returns.
Yeah, I mean, that's
nothing. It's like a coincidence, maybe? It's not trivia.
I mean, if he called her a penguin, maybe, but he doesn't.
But he doesn't. You're right. And quickly, while we're on this topic, there's on the Always Sunny Wiki page, there's another questionable trivia I have a hard time with. Somebody wrote, the guys were so pumped about the Night of Museums, probably because of the Night of Museum movies with Ben Stiller.
I mean, I think we're...
Is that trivia?
I think we talked about it at the beginning. They're just referencing some movies. Like the idea that you could go to a museum, everything comes to life. And what was the other one? There was another one at the very beginning.
I forget, but we did talk about Night of the Museum, but like, you can't use the word, the guys were so pumped about the Night of Museums probably because you can't use the word probably in a trivia. The word probably it just can't be in there if it's trivia.
I have a piece of trivia.
You do?
Yes. I probably should have said this up at the beginning of the episode. So this storytelling of flashbacks is kind of biting the style of a movie called Rashomon. It was a 1950s crime mystery thriller. So it's told by the memories of people who...
It keeps changing.
Exactly. We get different layers and flavors of the story.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you probably should have said that up top.
Yeah, I should have. I mean, it was at the bottom of my notes where it belongs, right?
Ross, that's the end of the episode. So that brings us to, what is your favorite character?
So I'm going to give it to Artemis.
I'm going to give it to both the McPoyles.
Okay. No, it's well-deserved. I mean, they haven't been around in quite a while, so it's great to have them back.
And what is your favorite scene?
Mac's version of the truth.
Really? Okay. Yeah, the
it's just so ridiculous.
Everybody chill. It's cool now. I'm going to say my favorite scene is when they're sitting across the couch and they're doing the and they're like doing the noises.
That awkward sex with my sister thing.
Yeah.
That's weird.
What is your favorite line?
It's good enough to eat.
Oh, yeah. Look, we didn't even mention that. We forgot to mention that.
No, we zoomed through a lot of the dialogue, but like it's a great line.
The look on your face, it's good enough to eat. What? They drag out the words in such a strange way.
Yeah. It's hard to replicate, but yeah, they have such a great cadence, right?
Yeah, definitely. And my favorite line is also from them. I think it's the, "You will call her." Made me laugh every time. And their reactions, too, to it. Like,
okay, bro. All right. I'll call her. Sorry.
All right. That brings us to the Always Sunny Wiki Trivia Challenge. These are 3 trivia facts. One of them are made up by me. One of them is from the website IMDb. No, I'm sorry. Actually, one of them is from... I'm so used to saying that. One of them is from the Wiki, the Always Sunny Wiki, because the IMDb ones, they weren't doing it for me.
We don't have any probably facts.
Yeah, I just
it doesn't do it for you?
It wasn't doing it for me. All right, so... Ross, please guess the one that is real and the one that is not made up by me.
All right.
Number 1, quote, browning out was actually invented by William Shakespeare in the play Much to Do About Nothing. Number 2, there are 3 alternate endings filmed so that the cast and crew couldn't spoil the mystery before the episode aired. Number 3.
Okay.
There are 3 different versions of the scene with Mac and Giant Bird incarnation of Dee in the bathroom. The final version with a real ostrich was shot singularly and much later after the filming of season 6 ended. It was the first time they had done something like this.
Yes, that's true.
You ruined my game. You got insider information. You should be in jail.
Well, I didn't even give all the good details that you did. So yeah, even after the season had wrapped, they had to go back and post and record that scene.
Pretty cool.
It's a great scene. It was totally worth it.
Worth it, yeah. It's memorable.
They made back all the money they spent on that.
I'd spend money on an ostrich. All right, Ross, final thoughts on this episode. Did this episode go berserk? It loves that kind of stuff. And you admit, you do too. Or the episode is very, very, very drunk. It should feel shame.
I admit, I like that kind of stuff. I like that too.
Frank doing that is so fun. I like it.
'Cause he always sounds like he doesn't want to admit it, but he like.
Well, what was the fight about? Like the fight was about that because he seems to have liked what the bun happened. So what was the fight about?
That Artemis wanted to go do it and he didn't.
No,
Artemis,
like the. Oh, okay. Right. They didn't
so
have
Artemis
a fight
wanted sex when he didn't want to have sex.
Right.
So that was what the argument was.
I was thinking they were arguing in the dumpster, but no, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, mid sex, just broke into an argument.
All right. Well, yeah. This episode again. This was the hardest episode we did for sure. I mean, there was just so many
we probably didn't even do
shifting.
it justice, to be honest. But like,
probably not.
That's probably the best we could do given our format. So
I mean, yeah, it's very hard to break down what that is going on, like
present to the flashbacks,
just
to
the way the scenes are. Like the scenes are not like this scene to that scene to that scene. They're all kind of interwoven. It's tough,
and they bounce around very quickly too.
What do we have happening next week, Rose? Or next time we record?
You think we can do this every week?
I always forget.
Next episode is season 6, episode 8. The gang gets a new member. So, Eric, what can we expect?
We got Jason Sudeikis making an appearance.
That's right. We got Jason Sudeikis. We get Dee discovering her roots in acting.
Oh, that's right.
Going back to her roots.
Dee going back to her roots. This episode is great we get a great shake-up of the formula of the gang when they kick out Charlie. So we get a great shake-up of an outside person observing the things that they do. And how weird they are.
Yes, that's true.
We get ring,
the rituals,
yeah,
of the gang.
Yeah, and going out to eat, and Dennis orders all their food for them, and all
what
that
it's like to be a person and then just be amongst the gang,
be amongst the gang. yeah, definitely. But Schmitty isn't without his problems, but yeah.
He's not a perfect guy, but
So I remember this episode being very funny. We get some great background on the gang.
Yeah, we get a lot of great background. I really like the school stuff when they're filming in the school. With,
that's
Dee.
great. Charlie becomes the professor.
Yeah, the professor. I think that's
actually
next
the
follow-up.
Yeah, it's a follow-up, but he starts working the janitor job.
Someone did ask if we were going to be covering the Lethal Weapon episode, and yes, I just want to say that here. So if you're following along, find it somewhere.
Yeah, it's not on Hulu, so you'd have to watch it on DVD or something, or some. I don't know how you get it, but it's not on Hulu.
Yeah, and even looking forward, I know there's seasons I don't own yet on DVD, and I'm starting to wonder how the hell I'm getting them. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. If anyone has a dark horse,
you
send
can
us
just
a
buy
file.
the DVDs on Amazon.
What if it's not on the DVD?
It
is my
definitely
question.
is. It definitely is. There's no way it wouldn't be.
All right.
No, it definitely is. And also, I don't know, they removed that episode. I don't know, it's going to be a tough one to talk about for us, obviously.
Yeah, but we knew that when we started the podcast, period.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. Yeah. The first episode the gang gets racist.
Yeah, exactly. We were walking into a closed door from the beginning.
It's just that we have no authority or like any like we should not have opinions on it. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
If people find it racist, it's racist. I mean, what can I say?
Yeah. No, I'm saying it is racist, but like
yeah,
the characters do too.
That's true too. Yeah, it's very crazy, but we'll try our best to talk about it as well as we can. It's gonna make me feel very uncomfortable, Ross.
All right. Well, it's 2 episodes from now. Let's just look forward one at a time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for sticking with us for this and trying to go along this mystery with us while we got confused and lost in the narrative. We appreciate that.
Yeah. If you made it this far, wow.
Yeah. Good for you. I don't know what you're doing, but go do something.
Go swim in a lake.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. And until we hear from you next time,
good day to use.
Always Sunnycast is not endorsed or affiliated with Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the FXX Network, or Philadelphia. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of Eric Regan and Ross Northrup. Email questions, thoughts, suggestions, corrections, or things we just plain forgot to alwayssunnycastpod@gmail.com. If you have a moment, please rate, subscribe, and review the podcast. And, as always, thanks for listening, you jabronis.